Let's talk.
Giles Brown.
And it's that time of the show where I'm delighted to welcome in to the studios the dynamic duo, I think you should call them, from Spence Clarke. Good morning, Claudia.
Good morning, Giles.
And Javier, good to see you with us as well.
Good morning.
Yeah, and yes. Now at least I got your first name correct this time, because I got Osorio, or I don't know, like Oso or something like that. How are you doing? How are we all doing today?
Well, it's fine. We are going to go through a new. It's not a new subject, but it's something that it's important to remind every year. Something
that is. If I turn my microphone up, it might help. If you want to get involved with any questions, then feel free to call in. 952-78-4000 is the phone number. studio@tre.radio is the email. And the reason I sound like this is I've completely lost my notes, which I called up in front of me. So let's just kick off with what we're talking about today.
We are going to talk about the M720 and M721, which is a new year, and now it's the time of the year to start in with that until the end of March.
Yeah, so from the top today, we're dealing, from what I understand, you've already started dealing with the first tax campaign of the year.
That's it, the M720 and M721, as I was mentioning.
Right. Okay, so now we've talked about the M720 many times, but it just remind our listeners in simple terms what exactly this declaration entails.
Well, I will not define M720 as simple, particular, but it's a declaration of non-Spanish assets. It's merely informative. Because it does not generate any tax payable to that. And it consists on informing the tax office of all foreign assets that you own when the sum of this is over a certain value, divided in categories, and the declaration is to be filed between January and March every year. And this year, the last day to file is the 31st of March.
Okay, so here we go. What are the conditions that apply if you have to submit an M720?
Okay, so very simple. The declaration is divided in three categories. The first category is properties. The second category is bank accounts, and the third category is investments. The first year you ever file a tax declaration, so this will happen when you move to Spain and you have to file your income tax declaration for the first time. Then you have to file this declaration for the first time, and it will trigger when any of those categories, the total of the assets within that category is 50,000 euros or more. In the following years, however, it will only happen if one of the previous categories that you already declared increases in 20,000 euros, or in the case a bank account that you declare is closed, or any asset that you previously declared is sold. Of course, it also will trigger if previously there's one category that you didn't declare. For example, the first year your bank accounts were below the 50,000 euros, but this second year they are over 50,000 euros, then on the second year, this category will be new, so you will need to declare as well.
So, but just with those, that's 50,000 in each category, not. So you could have 40,000 in properties, 40,000 in bank accounts, and 40,000 investments. Does that all count as one?
No.
Okay.
If you had that, then it would mean that you would know 720 would need to be filed.
Okay, so if somebody has a property in the UK, and you earn it with your spouse, and it is more than 60,000 euros, which it probably will because it's the UK. The individual value is 30,000, so 30,000 each because it's 60,000. Does that mean that they do not need to declare?
No, it doesn't. The curious thing of the S720 is that what matters is the value of the asset itself, not only the value of the ownership, as happens with the wealth tax. In your example, both spouses will need to declare this property for the full value of 60,000 euros, but indicating that their ownership of that asset is only 50%.
That is the best use of curious I have ever heard. The curious thing. The curious thing. Okay.
There are a lot of curious things about the M720.
It's like memorable, the memorable thing. So, I sort of get that with property, but what about bank accounts? If myself and my spouse have all joint accounts and there's a total value of 50,000.
The same applies as for properties. The rules consider that the complete balance of the bank, they consider the complete balance of the bank account for the calculation. And again, the percentage of ownership is stated afterwards. So in your example, both spouses will have to declare the bank accounts.
Okay. This is the asset. And this is as opposed to the requirements for wealth tax. So what exactly, and here we go, what exactly is the difference between the M720 declaration and your wealth tax? Are we going to mention Grandes Fortunas?
Yes, you can
yes,
mention
my favorite tax.
You can mention it because really people get really confused because they don't make things simple here. The wealth tax wasn't sufficient. They had to create the M720 and then the Grandes Fortunas. So what's the difference? Yes. So basically, the good thing about the M720 compared with the wealth tax and the Grandes Fortunas is that it is only an informative declaration. That means that no tax needs to be paid. Okay. Yeah. So that is the good thing about it. And it is also a state declaration. So everybody who's resident, whatever part of Spain, needs to file it. Now, wealth tax. It is not a state declaration. It is a regional declaration. So wealth tax at the moment is really unfair because depending where you live, it can, you have to pay tax or not. So, because there's parts of Spain like Madrid, Murcia, Andalusia, Baleares, and Cantabria that actually have no wealth tax applicable, and has a bonification of 3.7 million euros, these communities that I've said. But there's other regions of Spain where the allowance is only 500,000, like Catalonia, which is really unfortunate. Now, in the case of wealth tax, not only it is not only your non-Spanish assets, it is your worldwide assets. That's the big difference. And now, Grandes Fortunas, the big difference with wealth tax and the M720, it is also a state declaration like the M720, but in this case, again, you pay a wealth tax, okay? And it has an allowance of 3.7 million euros. Okay, so all the regions that have, like Andalusia, that have no wealth tax, you would only pay Grandes Fortunas. However, the regions that do not have that allowance of 3.7, you would pay wealth tax, and whatever you've paid on wealth tax is deducted. From the Grandes Fortunas, ¿vale? So the Grandes Fortunas is for everybody, so it's 3.7 each. So for a couple is 5.4 million, Additionally, there's 300,000 on your main home. So adding that, we're talking about 8 million in total between both of them. I think I made the addition wrong before.
Okay.
It was 7.4. Right. I said 5.4.
But the important thing is, for example, if you are in Catalonia, you don't get hit with two taxes.
No, you don't. But if you're you're in the region between 500,000 and 3.7, you're paying wealth tax, which other regions like Andalusia, the people are not paying anything, or in Madrid or Cantabria.
So you're not deducting that tax that you're paying on the junta of your region, or be it wherever you're or the region. You won't deduct that from the.
No, it doesn't apply. There isn't any wealth tax in those regions.
Okay.
So it's really unfair.
Yeah.
It's really unfair because it's not equal to all Spain.
Okay. Are there any other issues about the M720 that stand out to be particularly curious or confusing?
Yeah, indeed. That's why I said it was a curious declaration. One thing that we have found in the years we have been working with this declaration is that they are very confused sometimes with the limit of 50,000 euros, because they think that this, instead of being for the whole category, it's for an individual asset. So
Okay,
they
so I've got
say,
a piece of artwork. My car is worth 50,000 euros.
yeah, more with banks,
Okay.
for example. They say, okay, I don't have any bank account over 50,000 euros, so I don't have to declare. But in the reality, they have, for example, 5 bank accounts with 10,000 euros each, which makes you having to declare a declaration. Because once you reach the level in the category itself, you have to declare every account you have, even if you have account that you have never used or you have almost forgotten about with zero euros in it. You have to list that as well.
I've got a main account, 50,000 euros, and maybe 10 years ago I set up another account, but I've kind of let it go, and it's just got 3 or 4 years. You still have to declare
Correct.
anything
that you have open worldwide, that it's not in Spain, you have to declare that.
Okay.
And honestly as well, the rules for having to declare again do not make much sense, at least for me. That something like you, when you came first to Spain, you have 1 million euros.
But of course.
In a bank account in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
The first year you have to declare that bank account with that bank with that million euros on it in your first declaration. The next year you decide to close the bank account with a million euros, and you move the same million euros in different bank accounts in Cayman Island, in Gibraltar, in Isle of Man, any place you can think about. What do you think is what you have to declare in the N720? Only the closure of the bank account in the UK. You don't have to list all those new bank accounts. The tax office does not care about those because it has not increased the total value and the total balance.
Okay, so...
Because the rule number 2 was the following years, if it increases in 20,000, the category. That's the reason why.
So if I got my million and I move it around...
And you close the initial bank account, that's it. You don't have to list all the new bank accounts.
But if you...
But if the balance goes up, then you have to list all those new bank accounts. That's why it does not make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Imagine you have a Ferrari in the UK.
Yeah.
Worth more than 50,000 euros, you don't have to declare it.
Right.
You have your expensive boat in Monaco as well.
You know me too well, don't you? My Ferrari, my expensive boat, and my million euros in the account.
And that diamond that you keep under your bed in Italy,
yes.
in Venezia, you don't need to declare it either. So there you have.
That's good news. Okay. Now, you know my secrets, Claudia. Even the exchange rate. There are so many variables in this. So even the exchange rates can make a difference, yeah?
Exactly. So this is a problem that we have realized in many years, because we find that the first year everybody is worried about declaring more than 50,000 euros. And then they forget about the rule of 20,000 euros, and especially because they just don't keep it in their mind. So if you declared your little SIP for 100,000 euros, then you forget a bit about it. But you think, I'm taking some money out, but the exchange rate could actually make it have a value of 120. So it's very important just to have a little review on that. And now another curiosity, like Javi was saying.
I'm liking this. I'm liking this curiosity.
This only happens with investments and bank accounts, because properties are declared at purchase price. So
because that could go boom.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah. So properties, they made up this rule as well. Properties are not declared at the value, but at purchase price. So you don't need to declare your property ever again.
Okay. There are so many different aspects to this. Presumably on your rather excellent blog, which you have on the website, which is really easy to read. It's well written. I really like that. So do you have something about that on the?
We have a brilliant guide that explains everything about the M720 and the M721 that we'll speak in a moment.
Yep.
And also we've got frequently asked questions as well. So we've got 2 things that you can find find in our webpage.
Okay, now here we go. That's the carrot, as we say in English. Now we come to the stick. Fines. There's a lot of talk over the past couple of years about fines on the M720. We've talked about this before, but come on, let's let's go through this again.
Yeah. People are traumatized because of the stories there were at the beginning with the fines of the M720. They have gone, so don't be afraid anymore. Javier and I, some time ago, we're members of the AEDAF, which it is the Asociación de Asesores Fiscales de España. Okay, we're members of the AEDAF, and we used to go to courses, and in one of those courses of the M720, the advisors were advising their clients not to declare anything because the fines were so high. Do not declare. And then they were making the clients get into real trouble. We were the only ones saying, don't declare it. It doesn't matter. It's better to declare it than not. Well, the fines were so big that the EU decided to get rid of them. They ruled against Spain and said you're obliged to take these fines out. So thankfully, we have normal fines that are applicable to any informative declaration at the moment. So you don't need to be scared. Of course, it is still better to declare voluntarily than being inspected, because the fines when you declare voluntarily something that you didn't declare before because of your advisor telling you not to declare is going to be better than if the tax office finds that you have an asset outside Spain. Okay.
All right. Because, a lot of people get very worried about that as well. Let's talk about... We'll talk about the M720, and here's the next one in the franchise. It's like the Marvel universe. This is just when you thought it was safe to go back to Hacienda, it's the M721. So let's this is cryptocurrencies. Now this is going to be fun. So what's happening with this then?
Yeah, it's like the little brother or sister of the M720.
It's cryptocurrencies.
It's cryptocurrencies only.
I'm looking for. This is going to be very entertaining. I'm very curious. Come on.
I think that the tax office in Spain thinks, okay, what we cannot control, something that is unregulated, so we are going to control that, and this is why they introduced this new declaration. And
why am I thinking the Hacienda Pancho Sanchez tilting a windmill? Okay. Come on then. So
indeed, again, this is an informative declaration. There is no tax to pay, and you have to declare the cryptos that you own that are situated outside of Spain. The rules are just the same that as for the N720. So for the first time, you have to declare if the total value is over 50,000 euros, and on the following years, you will have to redeclare if the values of your cryptos at 31st of December has gone up in more than 20,000 euros. Or if you have sold any of the cryptos already declared. Of course, normally people that has cryptos like to play with this, and it is very common that someone sells or exchange one coin for the other, etc. So there are a lot of transactions that can be involved with that. And as last year was the first year for filing, so the only thing that was needed to declare at that time was the ownership of the cryptos, if these were over the 50,000 euros limit. Now, in 2024, is the year where people will start having issues when preparing this.
I've just had a thought, so bear with me on this one, okay, because it just came to me, so it's not what we're talking about here, okay? Cryptocurrencies, okay, digital, out there in the multiverse. We now have things called NFTs, these virtual investments. You could buy these like trading cards. I mean, when I was a kid, you had like top Trumps, and talking of Trumps, the ones with Donald Trump have gone through the... Is this, I don't know if you know this, but have Hacienda actually thought about virtual investments? Is this going to be covered?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, but maybe they are listening to this show.
Exactly.
So.
It will be the M722.
Exactly. Can we we're copywriting that, making a fortune. So,
no, it's not thinking. Probably this is the way they think. They go to the coffee there at the tax office, and they say, okay, what else we can look for?
Yeah, but I just thought cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, everybody knows that sort of thing. Fine, but virtual investments, there are.
At the moment they have only
the
cryptos in the N721.
But the thing is, Javi, it's cryptocurrencies. I mean, it's out there in the multiverse. You can't touch it. So how can the Hacienda go, it's ours? I mean, how can they say that?
The way they think is that the way they have ruled this, let's say, is that if the cryptos are held in a platform that has its basis outside of Spain, the crypto is not Spanish. If the holder of because it's like a bank account. If the bank account is situated outside, they say, okay, the funds are outside of Spain as well. This is the main reason they use for this. What I was mentioning before is that for this year, 2024, this is the first year where people will have to start declaring sales of cryptos, because last year was only the balance, and now it's the second year, and you may have sold cryptos that you previously declared. And even more, with the increase of the cryptos value at the end of the year, especially after the elections in the EU, in particular the Bitcoin, for example, which go up from, I think it was $65,000 up to 100. So there is a lot of people that is going to have to declare again the coins. But there is a bit of the law, a bit of the that you can use in your favor, because if you have the cryptos in what is called a cold wallet, which means that you are the one that is in possession of the cryptos because you are the one that holds the key, and you are the only person that can access that. Yeah. That crypto is not considered to be outside of Spain, because it's supposed to be with you, even if the wallet is somewhere else.
Virtual, yeah.
Doesn't matter. What matters is who is the custodian, in essence. It's a very difficult.
Hacienda must be loving this. So yeah. If you thought, okay, so my goodness, if you have crypto in the Cayman Islands, that's going to get so curious. It won't. So okay, so that's not going to be considered as foreign assets. So just to sum up, then. What should people be doing now then in regards the M720, and if they have crypto, the M721? What should be, apart from phoning you guys, obviously?
No, they need to, if they haven't done anything or in the past they had an advisor who told them not to declare. Don't be scared, declare, and nothing's going to happen, and it's better that you declare and not be inspected by the tax office, which we don't like receiving those letters. And if your tax advisor hasn't contacted you, I remind you of the deadline is the end of next month, the 31st of March. So you still have plenty of time to contact us if you want us to prepare it, or your normal tax advisor.
And where should they go? I mean, thanks for your time today, but where's the best place to go to get in contact with you guys, and also to read up by your excellent blogs?
They can go to our website, www.spenceclarke.com, Spence with an E and Clarke with an E as well, or they can phone to the office at the 952-822-943.
Fantastic.
Wonderful. Claudia and Javier, thank you so much for your time today. Right, that's it.
Talk Radio Europe. Your voice in Spain.